second of the night. Elly De La Cruz.
Short lead for Pena. Larkin drills it. Do you believe this? That's going to be gone. Back to back. Walk-off home runs. How about this? He's back. He's back. He's back.
And a swing and a drive. Deep left field. This one belongs to the Reds.
Swung on and hit
Deep to left field. That ball is going to be gone. Home run. And the Reds put it 5-4.
Goes to second one. Around to first. Got a double play. And the Reds sweep the Cubs. Breaking ball. Hit high. Hit deep. Way back there. And gone into the second deck and left. Christian Encarnacion Strand walks it off.
Archer does it in his major league debut. He gets the final 3 outs, and the Reds get an extra inning win. A thriller 5-4.
Swung on. Fly ball. Hit the deep right field. That ball is going to be gone. A grand slam home run by Mike Cameron.
2 outs, 2 on. Reds down by 1. Larkin down the line. It's a winning. It's a winning. Here comes Tucker. Here comes Steins. Larkin's won the game. Barry Larkin gets mobbed. Look at this scene. It's synergy.
The stretch, the pause and the pitch. And a line drive, base hit left center field. A single for Aaron Boone. And this one belongs to the Reds. The Reds have won 8 in a row.
Kobayashi with a long look, turns it loose, and Dunn hits it to deep right. It's all over.
And this one belongs to the Reds.
The Reds have won their 5th game in a row. They've defeated the Cleveland Indians on an Adam Dunn 3-run home run, 4-2. In on the corners at first and third. 2 on, nobody out. Here's Royce Ring pitching, no bunt. Ground ball by the third baseman into left field. Dave Bruce rounds third. And this one belongs to the Reds.
That's hit pretty good. Guess what? He doesn't need speed. That's gone. He's the king of the Queen City tonight.
With 1 out here in the 11th inning, you sure got to go now.
Swung on, pull down the left field line. That ball is going to get the winning run in. Here comes Dave Bruce rounding third, heading toward the plate. And this one belongs to the Reds.
Huge situation for Votto. Why you paying the big bucks to deliver the goods with 2 outs in the 9th inning? Can he do it? In the gap, right center field, and Votto delivers the goods.
Hit deep center field. Hayfield going back at the warning track. Oh, he gets one. It's gone. Joey Votto is delivered.
What is up, everybody, and welcome on in to the Chatterbox Reds pregame show for April 7th, 2025. We've got an opening day series rematch between the Reds and the Giants. But before we get into that, Alex, what's going on, man?
Well, I wish I was in a better mood based on this past weekend and the rain and the Reds' losses that rained from the heavens. But for a Monday evening, getting ready to watch some late-night Reds baseball, not doing too bad. How are you?
You know, I would like to have, beat down on the Brewers, but as a Reds fan, that has always been too much to ask, as we've lost 10 straight series of the Brewers and 14 of 16 since 2021. So maybe taking one game is, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But the Brewers have seemed to have our number over the past, 5 years at least. Want to dive into that 4-game series a little bit, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, not a huge, not great news from the weekend. Was hoping again for that 1-0 loss to had been a win. Obviously, what was it? I honestly had such a rough weekend. Was it Friday or Saturday night they won? Saturday, I believe. Saturday we won. The Reds took it home. The offense explosion behind TJ Friedel. But man, what just a bummer of a weekend. Then yesterday kind of falling apart with Spires and Mole. So just a rough one overall. Good to see Spencer Steer's home run yesterday. We'll talk about that maybe a little bit later. CES's bomb, the dead center, was just a massive, massive home run. I would have loved to see where that would have ended up at home. But obviously, whenever you go up there, I just don't know what's in the water. Maybe there's food poisoning. Maybe that's what's been going on. They finally decided to release it. It was food poisoning. Maybe that's what's going on in Milwaukee when we get there. Either that or it's the haunted hotel. I don't know. But something is not right with our boys when they head up north.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, when you're going into a series and you're facing Chad Patrick and Tyler Alexander and you get absolutely dominated, you can't put up anything. That's trouble in my eyes. You would have loved to see that Saturday's win. The offense was great. That you would like to see them repeat that, but you didn't see any consistency there. But like you said, there's a little bit of a bug going around. Maybe, yeah, you got Matt McClain out, so it's too early to hit the panic button. But definitely not a great start to this season. Sitting here at 3-7, I don't know.
Way too early to hit the panic button. I totally agree with that. Game 11 tonight. But I remember listening to the Reds years ago. I believe it was Tom and Chris Welsh on the call on TV. And Chris made a point early in the season. He said, if you win the first game, you can't get swept.
That's right.
And as simple as it sounds, it makes you think that first game being so important. I don't remember the stat offhand, but I know the guys on Off the Bench mentioned it quite a bit, was when the Reds have lost the first game, they haven't won, was it like 20-some straight series? So obviously
I think it's in the 30s.
Yeah, I think it was like maybe 32 comes to mind. I didn't want to say that so confidently, but it's a rough stretch. But also, how many times last year did we see them? And I'm just, that's the last comparison I want to make to last year. But how many times last year did we see them lose 3 and then turn around and sweep the next team? Or, it's going to be a 1-7 road trip, or 1-7 road trip. Then it turns into 3-4. And you're like, okay, let's go home. Let's beat the Pirates. So let's get back to 500, and then the season will actually start.
Yeah. And I also do want to mention, with all this negativity going around, I hate to bring up the run differential card on April 7th, but still sitting at a +1 run differential. So that just shows you it's feast or famine for this offense. +1 run differential, you'd like to be better than 3-7, but also with how bad the offense has been, I think the pitching's done just fine. I mean, the stat I want to bring up real quick, run support by starter. Brady Singer has 25. No one else has more than 5, with Nick Martinez there at 5, Green at 4, Lodolo at 3, and Spires at 2. So that just, I don't know if the offense really, really likes Brady Singer and hates everyone else, or what's going on there, but you love to see that, even out, share the sugar a little bit. I don't know. It's
absolutely, reminds me of our old friend Luke Weaver back in 2023. He got a lot of run support, and Trace has brought it up. The Reds can never, and you just proved it out, they can never give run support for Hunter Green. It's unbelievable the lack of run support these guys are getting on a night in and night out. That brings me into a couple of things while researching and looking up to see how these guys have been hitting for the last week plus. The lack of power and the lack of just overall bat speed and exit velocity, the amount of extra base hits makes me very concerned. I'm always going to be have a positive outlook on the team. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I'll believe that until it's impossible. But Candelario, what's going on there? He cannot hit for any power. He's a singles guy in the middle of the lineup, just not making sense. I really wanted Gavin Lux to hit more with more power. I don't even need home runs. Just give me some gap doubles.
Yeah.
Give me some gap doubles, and that'll be good. But I'm looking at the lineup here in the center. Honestly, it's Elly, CES with power tonight. I mean, maybe Spencer Steer looked great yesterday. And then really, it's Blake Dunn. Now, he's only had 2 hits on the year, but he might be the guy who has a couple hits. And I started to drink the Blake Dunn Kool-Aid, and then I realized, okay, he only has 2 hits.
Yeah.
But in the small sample size, and then looking back 2 years ago to 2023, while he was in our minor league system, I think he's a valuable fourth outfielder right now for this team. And with our situation on the injuries with Fraley, and without having Will Benson here, maybe Blake Dunn will help us out for a few games.
Yeah, I agree with you there, but we mentioned Luke Weaver's name once, and the ghost of Luke Weaver, Dream Weaver, shows up, says, like the stream. Hey, you heard him. Everyone like the stream. It helps us out a bunch, keeps us being able to do this. So, hey, you don't want to bring up Luke Weaver or the ghost of Dream Weaver will show up, but, he's doing well for the Yankees now, so I don't know.
Well, that's, the Reds are good for that. Rehab these guys a little bit, give them a little bit of info, and then for whatever reason we spin them off, and then they turn into a better player on a different team. Luke Weaver, Kevin Gausman, to name a couple. So I'm sure we'll have another one up our sleeve here soon.
Yeah, I'm sure. What do you say we preview the Giants a little bit? As they stand right now, they have the best record in the MLB at 8-1. If you're 8-1, you got to have some things clicking on all cylinders, and they've done just that. Their lineup's been really balanced. They're getting production from everywhere. Obviously, the pitching's been good. What do you got on the Giants, Alex?
Yeah, when I think about the Giants, I don't want to compare them to the Reds because the records you can't. But a lot of no names in the most part, right? I think their catcher, to me, is one of my favorite catchers out there. Patrick Bailey. He's going to shut down the run game again. The Reds won't be stealing this series. Don't think about Elly getting a stolen base. Obviously you can't steal a base if you can't get on base. So we have had some trouble doing that as well, but we're not going to be stealing any bases. The shortstop, I don't even want to say his name. He's given me too many bad memories from his time in Milwaukee. The center fielder, the Korean center fielder, really impressed me last series, the opening series, played very well. And then really it's just some role guys. Wade Jr. has had a good career, plugging away there on first. And just some of their outfielders, we don't barely know their names, but it seems like these guys are always in the hunt the last few years, in the shadow of the Dodgers.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just looking through their lineup. They've got guys like Wilmer Flores. They've got guys like Mike Yastrzemski, all with, north of 900 OPS. They've got 5 guys with an OPS over 900, and the Reds currently have 0. So that just shows you kind of how deep they are in their lineup. Heliot Ramos is seeing the ball huge. You saw him have a great series against the Reds there on opening day. He's kind of what prevented Green from going 6 there on opening day after the 11 pitch at bat for the home run. But yeah, their offense has been really steady this year. And then also their bullpen, they have the 3rd best bullpen ERA in the whole league. So, if you get Webb out of the game, you're not off the hook quite yet. You've got to deal with a pretty good bullpen there. So definitely a tough team to beat. But
yeah, two things on the Giants, Matt Chapman. I forgot about Matt Chapman. One of the best third basemen still in the league. Signed a long-term deal with the Giants last year, but he can hit. He's a vacuum at third. Nothing is getting past him at third base, so that's difficult, especially when these Reds, when they've been actually making contact with the ball, they're not getting in the air. They're hitting on the ground. So getting it past him is going to be tough. The other thing that's crazy about the Giants, and I think you probably heard this around opening day, was they've had a different left fielder on opening day since Barry Bonds retired.
Wow.
I've been thinking about that for almost 2 weeks now. Once I heard it, and it's just, it blows my mind. They've won 3 World Series since then and been a successful team, but they've had a different left fielder on opening day since Barry Bonds retired.
Yeah.
So, just, and you mentioned it, they can hit and they can pitch, but when you look at them, as someone who doesn't stay up late and watch a lot of Giants baseball, they're just a lot of plug and play, no name guys who just do damage. So
Yeah.
Hopefully one day we can get there as well.
Yeah, hopefully. Looking at the series preview here, we got Green and Webb going tonight, opening day, rematch part 2. And then you've also got Lodolo versus Landon Roop and Martinez versus Verlander. So that's kind of what the rest of the series is going to look like. You'd love for the Reds to win this series, get some momentum heading back home against they've got a homestand against Pittsburgh and the Mariners, I believe. So 2 struggling teams. You'd like to get some momentum heading into that. Hopefully get back to 500, like you said, here soon. But you love for them to, the sweep, you cannot get swept, I feel like. You'd love to win it, but you just gotta continue to put up good at bats.
Mm-hmm.
3
right-handed pitchers. 3 right-handed pitchers, by the way. Our strength.
Yeah.
If they can win tonight, I think they win this series.
Okay.
If they win tonight, they can win this series. If not, and call me crazy, they could sweep the Giants. So hear me out. If they win tonight, they get past Webb, who is by far to me their best pitcher. Verlander, he's been great. And Robbie Ray, who we won't face this go around, is great as well. But facing their 5th starter tomorrow, is good. So that helps us out. If we can win tonight, we can win tomorrow. We've already beat Verlander and Nick Martinez going in a bigger ballpark, and the damage that he had in his first start, couple fly balls in our small ballpark. In Milwaukee's not too much bigger, in the expanded confines out there in San Francisco. I think we have a shot if we can win tonight.
Yeah. I like to hear that kind of positivity. You haven't been hearing that a lot throughout the fan base, but I'm going
to share this from Nick. Nick just jumped in and put this in the chat.
Yeah.
This is exactly, I think he hit the nail on the head. The Giants roster is what the Reds were hoping their roster would look like. Obviously, we've had some injuries. I don't know, quite frankly, on the injury front of the Giants, how many injuries they've had. But in the grand scheme of things, like I said, kind of some no-name guys or not stars. We're in the same boat. We each have a couple stars, and then those role players who go through spurts, hit, maybe they cool off, and then the next guy is coming in, backing them up. So hopefully the Reds roster starts to hit like the Giants roster is.
Yeah. What do you say we get into the pitching matchup here tonight? We've got Hunter Green versus Logan Webb. Like I said, part 2. That was the opening day matchup. Webb on opening day, he went 5, did walk 3. That kind of prevented him from getting out there further. But he came out against the Astros, went 7. I believe he gave up a run. But how do you feel about this pitching matchup here, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Logan Webb, he to me is one of the better pitchers in baseball. He doesn't get the notoriety pitching a lot of late night games, but he's one guy where I've bought the hype and worried about every time the Reds face him. Now, with that being said, looking at some of the Reds stats against him, they've hit him pretty well. Really, the 2 guys I'm looking at tonight for keys to the game, Gavin Lux has overall had really good numbers against him. Obviously, a lot of connection there with Lux coming from the Dodgers. But CES also had a couple good games against Webb. I believe 4 for 7 with a home run. We really need CES to get it going. A couple hits a night would be fantastic from both of them tonight. I think we can get 2 hits from each of them, maybe a couple extra base hits. I think we have a good chance. But Webb is good. We can't skate around that. But I think those 2 guys have had some good numbers against them.
Yeah, I know. CES, I know, had 2 hits on opening day against him. And then I believe that home run he hit, I know he hit a home run last year at Oracle, dead center. I remember that. So hopefully,
in his first home run was against his first career home run was against the Giants at home.
Yeah, it was.
I don't believe it was Logan Webb. I think Logan Webb actually pitched the beginning of that game, which that was actually Chatterbox Reds night at the Boathouse with Nick and Trace and everybody there. It got rained out, suspended, and then CES hit a home run to finish the game off. But overall, both of them, I think, against Webb, let's keep the good numbers rolling.
Yeah, you've got Green on the mound, so it'd be easy to say we're going to go out there, give them no run support, but you love to see them flip that and give Hunter Green some run support here. What do you say we get into this lineup here? You've got a little bit of a twist here with Blake Dunn batting second. Charlie Goldsmith did make a tweet earlier saying Tito doesn't really like to switch the whole lineup. He likes to keep guys in their same spots, keep them comfortable. But what do you think about Blake Dunn here batting second in front of Elly De La Cruz?
It was better than Jacob Hurtubise or Spencer Steer or Jamier Candelario. I mean, it seems like Ellie's going to hit third.
Yeah.
So it is what it is,
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, I think he's going to hit third. So who's hitting second? I think to me, you're a hot hand, or your second best hitter, which obviously is Matt McClain. And, obviously he's out again tonight. Haven't touched on that yet as a group. The two of us haven't, but not looking good. Hopefully this is just precautionary and just hold him out another day. But we keep hearing that. We've heard that for a couple of years. But, the Blake Dunn, it doesn't really get me too worked up because I just don't know what other choice you have.
Yeah. You said it best. Ellie's batting third. I think it's been – everyone can whine about it as much as they want, but I don't think Terry Francona is going to I don't think he's going to change that. I think he likes him batting third there. But it troubles me a little bit having Blake Dunn get more at-bats or at least – bat ahead of him against a righty. He only 2 hits this year, one being a home run, but he had speed, which is something that, but Patrick Bailey behind the plate, it's going to be tough to run on him, but
yeah,
it's just a little bit frustrating there seeing Blake Dunn ahead of Elly De La Cruz, in my opinion. I think a lot of people agree with that.
And like we said, I don't think that the, I don't think that's changing. I just don't think that the lineup is changing. What I'm interested in is if and when, let's not put the cart before the horse. If and when Hayes and Stevenson come back, and then McClain, is when those three come back, where are we at now? And then when Benson comes up, like tomorrow,
yesterday,
where does he hit? So I don't think in this version of the Reds lineup, it is what it is. I'm excited to see when the injuries come off the board. Where does he place those guys?
Yeah, I know Tito said before he likes Hayes kind of batting there behind Elly.
Yep.
Kind of surrounding Elly with McClain and Hayes, having that good lefty hitters around Elly, make the bolt, or so they don't put in a lefty there against Elly. But McClain is available off the bench, which I don't. If he's available off the bench but not playing, he's not healthy, because if he was healthy, he'd be starting. So they're definitely playing this one safe, but it's definitely
here's my wondering, and I think this was mentioned last night or yesterday afternoon. Is he healthy enough to hit?
Yeah, but
not healthy enough to run. And so if he just runs into one, he can get us a home run. Or if he walks, if he gets on base, will they just pinch run Espinal or a pitcher or whatever just to use his bat? That's the part I think that they're holding off on. Especially when you're in the away team, that's a little strange because there's no walk-off situation. Just to use his bat, Is this a Kirk Gibson situation? I don't know if it's that bad. We, obviously none of us know, but hopefully he's back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and his one at bat he got against the Brewers, he hit a ball really hard dead center. It looked like it had a chance to get out. So I think you might be onto something there with not being able to run the bases, but they're playing it safe, which is good for the long run. But you you definitely like to get some production here. What do you say we get into the bottom of the lineup?
Yep.
Something or more middle of the lineup. You really like to see CES get it going here because if not him, who else? You haven't seen anything from, Jamer's not been swinging it well at all. I checked his savant numbers earlier, and every single attribute was blue. I know that's all the advanced stat stuff, and a bloop single is the same thing as a 110 single, but he hasn't shown us much. And Steer put a good swing on that home run, one of the first good pull base hits he's gotten all year, and it got it over the fence, so that's a good sign. But also, I know there's some he's likely playing hurt as well. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
No doubt. And there's probably a mix of hurt and then also just catching up to speed. That particular home run though was 103 exit velocity with a 74 bat speed. And a lot of the smarter guys than me on X.com have talking about bat speed. That's actually 4 miles per hour faster than, or whatever the miles per hour, I guess they use. I'm going to use miles per hour, 4 miles per hour faster than his average last year. So maybe he's coming out of it. I think it's something to monitor, of course, throughout the next few days.
Yeah. And also something I want to touch on here with McLean being out. If there is any silver lining to it, we see Gavin Lux at second base tonight. First game he's been in the infield. He's definitely looked a little bit uncomfortable in the outfield. I know that ball in left field he tracked down, completely wrong route on that ball. So maybe, you see a lot of times guys playing out of position, it affects them at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And, we both talked about it. We really like to see Lux get going, start hitting the ball harder. You said it, doubles will do. He doesn't need to get the ball over the fence. Doesn't need to worry about, pulling the ball there, but just getting some production out of him, especially at cleanup, it'd be huge. And I think him playing second here tonight might, get him a little more comfortable. Maybe he's a little more comfortable in the box. He's playing an old division rival, used to be a Dodger, so maybe he's got some familiarity there. But if there is any silver lining to that McLean injury, it'd be that, I think. And then Hurtabees also Fraley scratched tonight, so we got Jacob Hurtabees playing in left here. Fraley being scratched kind of raises the question, what are you going to do with him? Are you going to put him on the IL and call up Benson? I think 90% of the fan base has been calling for that the last week.
Absolutely. And actually, someone sent me a question over the week, Sam. Someone sent me a question, one of our fans, David from Madeira. He wanted to know when the right time to call up Benson or Marte would be. I think this is perfect, David. I think you send Fraley to the IL, to Phantom IL, and just let him work it out. It would be something if he had a good year last year.
Yeah.
He had 5 home runs last year. He has very little power right now. And, he plays okay defense, but he's not hitting. So, like you were mentioning, you know what? Give us a shot. And let's see what everyone has. Why can't Hurtabees be better than Fraley? I think he has been. And
he's been putting up better at bats for sure.
There's no doubt.
Hurtabees at least, he's been known to take walks. He's had 420 on base percentage in the minors. I know it's the minors and he's facing AA and AAA arms, but he's been known to work at bats, and Fraley's just been giving you uncompetitive at bats time after time, and having no power to that. It's definitely deflating when Benson's crushing it in AAA. He's going oppo. He's hitting the ball all over the place. So
I would rather see Will Benson roll out to second base in Cincinnati than Jake Fraley roll out to second base in Cincinnati.
How about this comment? Pre-game show, national or
Sam, I was thinking about yesterday. I was thinking about actually opening the show as welcome to Cougars versus Gators. So let's talk about it. Who do you have tonight and why, real quick? And we have one other thing, and then I think we can probably wrap up the show.
Yeah, I've got Florida, not only because I had them in my bracket, but because I'm an Indiana Hoosier and Kelvin Sampson is Houston's coach. So we got some bad blood there. It would be very disheartening to see him get a national championship.
So I'm gonna go the other route here. So I'm rooting for the Cougars.
Okay.
Part of the reason is there's somewhat my work bracket. I'm way below. I'm way low, but there's 3 guys ahead of one of the. There's 4 guys who can win. 3 of them have the Gators, so it's 1, 2, 3. I guess really only 1 can win, and then there's a guy with the Cougars who's going to jump all 3 of them. So I told him today I was rooting for him, and then Saturday when I was watching the Duke Houston game, I was like, whoever wins this game, I'm rooting for because I like the storyline.
Yeah.
I'm not a Duke guy, but I think John Shire winning the national championship, taking over for his old coach. That's a cool storyline, starting the next chapter. And then I was thinking the same thing about Kelvin Sampson. He's been doing it forever. You know, put a cherry on top of his career. So that's why I decided to go with the Cougars.
We got a Reds pregame show and the national championship pregame show. 2 and 1 here.
So, and then do you have anything else? And I know we have one last thing to wrap up the show.
Yeah, I mean, can't stress it enough. Got to give Hunter Green run support. I think that's just the main point tonight. Key to victory. I think just getting Logan Webb deep in at bats. You know, he had 3 walks on opening day, kind of stopped him from going past 5. So I just think working the counts, trying to prevent him from going deep into the game, get on him early. I think that's what the Reds lineup's got to do tonight. What about you, Alex?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. I hope we can get a few runs across the board. I mentioned earlier, I think CES is the key. We get him rolling and get him going. Him and Gavin Lux tonight, the good success against Webb. And like you mentioned, work the counts and keep moving in that direction. So just cross our fingers that we can pull out a win. And like I mentioned, if you win the first game, you can't get swept. So I have one last thing to wrap up the show before, and again, we'll see you guys tomorrow night. Sam and Alex are back for our regular scheduled Tuesday nights. But I did want to share one nugget I saw this morning for this date in Reds baseball history. Future Reds Hall of Famer Brandon Phillips was traded for today 19 years ago in 2006. I actually remember him being traded to the Reds, Sam. There was a player who I really liked the year before, or the couple years prior. His name was Ray Almeida. Look up his baseball reference page, kids. Ray Almeida. He wore number 4 for the Reds, and Brandon Phillips came in and took over number 4, and I was kind of upset about it because he took my guy's number. But obviously, Brandon had a great career with the Reds. One of my all-time favorite guys, and hope one day that he can be brought back into the Reds family and have a plaque hanging there in the Reds Hall of Fame next to Joey Votto here in a few years. Yeah,
for sure. There's no doubt hearing that 4, and now Santiago Espinal is sporting the number 4 for the Cincinnati Reds, deservingly so.
And great, Reds great, Shogo Akiyama.
Oh, yeah. Don't even get me started with Shogo. I'm still high on him.
You're still high on him. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my God.
He's got a spot in the outfield right now, I think, over Jake Fraley, but I don't know. I think his career is diminished quite a bit. All right, Alex. I think that's going to do it for tonight's show. I mean, offense got to get rolling here, get some run support for Hunter Green. But yeah, anything else left to say?
I guess I'll just say this. I said it again. I said it last week, and I'm going to say it again today. If the Reds can score 4 runs, they win.
4 runs. You're setting it up 4, huh?
Setting it at 4. If they can score 4, they win.
Love to see it. Well, we'll be back tomorrow, so I guess we'll see if they score 4 tomorrow for the game 2 of the series. But until then, make sure you guys like the stream. And yeah, thank you guys for joining in, and go Reds.